All right now. How's it going over there?
Living the dream, man.
Living the dream.
Living the
Trying to get
dream.
connected.
One second. I'm here. I didn't know we were on already. I was looking on my computer, then I said, let me get to the
There you go.
cell phone.
And Chris is here. So let's get the party started, man.
Get the party started. Let's. Chris, how's it going?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, I've got
All right. The hard part is done now.
How would you like to proceed?
Beautiful. So, Chris, Bruce, you just met Patrick. Patrick is the international banker that's available to actually make things move in terms of the funds. I wanted you guys to do a Q&A and, get everything out on the table so that we guys can possibly move forward if everything lines up. So, the platform is yours. We're just the connected parties.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm just wonderful.
Christopher Murphy.
Yes,
The Christopher Murphy, the cybersecurity Christopher Murphy.
yes.
How are you?
There are actually quite a few Christopher Murphys. It's quite
I know.
very frightening, and one of them's a senator.
Right.
Oh my
Go,
goodness.
go figure.
Oh, wait, it gets worse. He grew up in the same town I did, only a few streets over.
It may be your brother, your father, your son, or maybe your son. Oh, it depends on the age.
I'm not quite that old.
I don't know how old he is. I was just saying. Same name, and the same town. Wow, that's. Where'd you grow up?
In Waterbury, Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut.
He's the senator from Connecticut. He never left.
Okay,
I'm still working on getting back.
and you're in Largo, Florida. I was told by Bruce.
I am.
Great. I have several questions. Bruce was giving me a quick rundown, just to qualify. Brandon likes to introduce me as an international banker. I have an international banking license, but that has no bearing on anything other than the fact that that's something that I sought in my financial quest, if you will, in leveling myself up to standards. I actually am I sit on a board for a couple of banks. I don't like to see the word ownership. Own nothing, control everything. Kinatar Ltd. out of St. Kitts and Nevis. Karamouzi Banking Trust, headquartered in Greece, but headquartered now started in Greece, rather, now headquartered in Cameroon, Africa. I am the chief financial strategist to the Numi Doria. We say Numi for short, Kingdom Crown. In fact, as I call in with you guys, I just got off the phone with the king. One of our investor banking companies just emailed us, and he didn't see the email at 11:30 or 11:20 it came in. I did, and I forwarded it to my partner to respond to their CFO, not CFO, their managing director or whatever. So he was calling me to make sure that I seen it and saw it. I was like, King, I saw it 2 hours ago. Where were you? 3 hours ago. He's like, yeah, I know. I didn't go to bed till 4 in the morning. So anyway, we had a conversation. So I have a lot of financial background, DTCC, private banker status. And as I was telling the gentleman earlier, by birth, we are all private bankers. We are bankers because we engage in banking. When you're in banking, that's what it says in the definition. If you're engaged in the act of banking, you are considered a banker. So I just try to excel it. I try to educate people when I get a chance. I was educated, and that's how I got into it and got full-hearted in it. I have an Air Force background, top secret SCI clearance, served in both Desert Shield, Desert Storm, during rather. Only did 8 years, but it was a very interesting time. I'll just say that and leave it there because the top secret SCI clearance, I can't really tell you what I did or who I did or how I did it, but I did it and I made it to this point. So I give people kind of my background for a trustworthy scenario. They're telling me that you're looking for 10 to 20 million.
Yes.
If you want to go into diving into that particular part, once I ask these couple of questions, then I think we should be. I'm a KIS guy. KISS. Keep it simple and straightforward, or keep it super.
I learned it in college when I was learning the program, and they just used it exactly the way it was intended. Keep it simple, stupid.
See, I told you.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, Brandon. Earlier, I told him when I was younger. That's what I used to say. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
That was the first lesson they taught us in programming when I went to college.
Ain't this something?
Complicated, you're wrong.
I learned it in the Air Force. I think I was 18. Keep it simple, stupid.
100% commission sales. Keep it short and sweet. Keep it simple, stupid.
I like short and sweet. I like that. Short and sweet.
Right.
So, my first question to you, Chris, is do you have any patents pending for any of your technology? Because I understand that you are the cybersecurity guy for Authenticator app, if you will.
I have 2 granted patents.
2 granted. That's what I need.
I have a patent about to be filed, which will renew the 2 patents that I currently have for an additional 20 years and extend our control over authentication and cybersecurity well into the 2050s.
Great. So the one you have now, the 2 granted, are they expired yet, or are they about to expire?
They have 8 or 9 years left on them.
Okay, so that's perfect. 8 or 9 years means they're still active. You're good.
And the beauty of that is these new patents will come into force before those older ones expire. So uninterrupted continuation of our control.
Correct. And that's so a refiling, which is continuation of the current.
It's not a refiling. We've got to be written. I'm having a lot of dealing with patent attorneys.
I understand they are something
entirely new technology that builds upon what came before, but is completely independent. Or it comes to a situation and you don't get the 20 years. They just extend what you own farther for the 9 years.
So you want the 20 years with the new technology.
Right. So, I mean, this whole thing has been an education in all of the nuances in every aspect of dealing with the government and dealing with financial agencies.
There's
and
something
with investors, and it's been an experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody.
No. That's why I stay in my lane, Chris. I'm a finance guy. I'm not a technology guy. I know a little bit about technology. I did it in the Air Force. I even went to school for CIS. But I am a finance guy to the 10th power, and I stay in my lane. So I just know how to ask the questions to quantify projects, if you will.
Our patents that were granted have been proven by the United States government with a successful deployment in DoD in 2014. And it's important that we get this on the table for 2014, and the time is critical to understand as well.
Right.
It was reviewed and recommended by Naval Research Labs in the 2010 to 2012 timeframe, and I've got a letter stating that from the commanding officer of Naval Research Lab, the only reason why he ran into problems was because it was not invented here. Government doesn't normally explain that we've surrendered national security because it was not invented here, but it's actually stated in the letter. I also have experience with DISA, and we have a Rutgers report from the Police Institute on the ROC, basically Homeland Security's tabletop exercise. So the technology has been proven. It's been evaluated by the top scientists in the government and recommended. We were not selected in 2014 by the United States government because a dual authentication solution was chosen, because my technology was not invented there. Now, I want you to understand exactly what this says and the letter that the commanding officer provided me. It says the United States government mandated multi-factor authentication. The commanding officer was recommending multi-factor authentication, and the government chose to violate their own regulations and use dual authentication rather than multi-factor authentication.
Wow.
Tells you how powerful where I sit is as we introduce this technology. Now let's take it one step farther. Literally, nothing on the internet has ever used multi-factor authentication except that one DoD project and my company. Ever, in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Every financial institution since 2001, when multi-factor authentication regulations were put in place, has certified that they're compliant.
Since 2001.
Since 2001. No, it gets even better. In 2006, the FFIEC, which is the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, controller of the currency, we're not talking about the players, we're talking about the entire conglomeration of they laid out a definition for regulations. Now, I've read thousands of definitions and regulations. I've only read one in my entire life that begins like this. It says, by definition true, multi-factor authentication. It explains how it must function, and then it ends with, if it doesn't, it would not qualify as multi-factor. Nothing in the industry qualified at the time.
Wow.
It's still exactly the same today as it was then.
But they said it's certified.
They've all certified it. But I've got a patent that demonstrably proves that every single one of them has been actively engaged in fraud since 2006.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
The power of our patent is, now I want to get back now to 2014. I want to get back to 2014. So the government chose not to buy this technology. Okay? So my only option was the commercial market.
Correct.
I think in 2014, breaches happened to other people.
Right.
They weren't something you read 10 of a day. Identity theft didn't exist. There had not been a single ransomware attack in the entire history of the internet at this point in time.
Right.
I'm trying to sell a solution to phishing that doesn't exist before phishing exists. I'm trying to sell a solution to ransomware before ransomware exists. I'm trying to sell a solution to malware and content mining and the spying and all the social engineering before any of these things existed. So there was no market. In the years since, now 10 years, I've invested a total of everything I own, including $11.2 million of my funds to bring this technology to market. Now, my success rate with finding investors is because everybody thinks that because you need money, we can just take advantage of you, and I'm not into that type of relationship. I'll be very honest. I had KPMG do a valuation. I've got a recording of exactly how corrupt their valuation is. They let me record them being corrupt. I mean,
They record them being corrupt. Are you kidding me?
okay, they discounted the value of my technology from $200 billion pre-revenue to $130 million because they could not use compliance as a driver for adoption. So what they were saying was, we acknowledge that companies are not compliant with multi-factor authentication, and we can't even guarantee or assume that they will be compliant with the evaluation, so we won't give you credit for it. Now, that's one bad step, and this is recorded. Take it another step farther. They were acknowledging that they were aware that they were not compliant with multi-factor authentication when they did this. And they were acknowledging that every time they certified a client as multi-factor authentication, they were actively engaged in fraud. And I've got this on a videotape from a Zoom meeting, and they were all involved and aware that we were recording it.
This is a big thing you're telling me here. You don't know who you're talking to.
Wait, no, I'm going to go a little further. So I now have a book that I just got published. It's about to get published. I just sold the rights to it. It's called Digital Deception. And it lays out the fraud from the very moment it began, hitting the lights, the laws, the regulations, and the criminals who actively engaged in the crimes. All of it documented with rock solid evidence.
Man, I hope you live through this.
No, it doesn't really matter. I want you just to think, because it doesn't really matter in the big picture.
Right.
I want you to think about something.
Okay.
That book is published, and literally every financial institution in the world, both in America and every place else, is now demonstrably proven out of compliance. The only way to come into compliance is to license the technology from me. There are 5 billion users in the financial world.
Right.
$10 per user per month. That means I'm going to make $50 billion a month just off the financial industry. And they have no choice because the law will make them do it.
Has the law's been passed? The law has been
These laws
passed.
are there. Go look at NIST regulations from 2014. You can look at the regulation from, I can send you the regulations from
Please send them to me. Please send them to me.
2001. I can even highlight the definition on the page for you.
I need it. I need it.
I'm not playing any games. This is a big freaking deal. So
I demand that you send it to me authenticated.
here's what I'm going to demonstrably prove to you. That my technology is about to change the world, and the revenues that will come in are outstanding. And it's a cash cow.
Right.
Okay? We don't have a personnel to income ratio. We sell we sell an ID. Let me find my wallet. My wallet.
Right.
I reach in my wallet. I take out my digital ID. I plug it in and I'm on the internet. I unplug it and I'm no longer me. This could be a debit card. When I connect to my bank knows I'm present. When I disconnect, my bank knows I'm not. But furthermore, the bank has no need for public access. Every customer has a debit card. Every customer plugs in their card to talk to the bank online, disconnects when they don't. They're now using multi-factor authentication. Something you have to do something you are, proving you are present. The is factor is presence. It's existence, presence or absence. You're either present or you're absent.
Or you're absent, right.
That's not the way it's been applied. We use the is factor as if I send you bio data, that proves you is someplace. It doesn't prove you is at the place where authentication takes place because all they got is data.
Right, because I just had fraud this morning. Just left the bank for having to get a new debit card because somebody was at Walmart and I wasn't charging my card.
Yes. It's all about the game is played by everything is data. And the law requires something other than data. And I own the patent on the only way to use any form of distributable medium, even these credit cards, any form of distributable medium that can connect to the internet and load an environment into RAM. I own it. Period. I own it.
Beautiful.
Can't do this without violating my patent. You can't use an identification to access the internet.
And is that the new technology or the old ones that you already
That's the old technology that the government knew about.
In 2014, when they proved successful deployment, they didn't accept it because you didn't do it in the U.S.
No, because they didn't own it.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, yeah, of course, they got to own it. They don't own it. They don't want to deploy it because they're the ones making the money.
Let's give you more of the story, okay? The government wanted it so bad, they put me in touch with several defense contractors. Every last one of them wanted to put a way to spy on the government in the system, which I wouldn't let them do. Then they could only do business with us if they were strategically allied with us. And a strategic alliance meant they had to buy 51%. Don't worry, we'll guarantee the integrity of the product, but we have to own 51%. And that guarantee ends the minute you sign the freaking contract and they got 51%, and they're spying on the government. And my question to them was, why do you spy on the government? What are you looking to learn? How to get more money from them? How to rob them better? How to manipulate the system? You have no reason to be spying on what the government is doing when they're performing secure activity. But they had to have it. And so I stood here with integrity and lost $11.2 million of my life invested in this. I was a millionaire at one point. Well, I'm making ends meet.
Yeah.
Wow.
With a deal that when this book publishes, it's going to be an international bestseller. I'm going to make millions off of it alone, and the technology is going to go insane, and I'm going to make billions of dollars. And you know what? I never did it for the money. I've always done it for the science.
Did it for the science.
That's the problem I've had with everybody I've done business with. Everybody thinks they can manipulate the situation based on money. So I'll tell you where I stand, because I'm probably the most honest, straightforward, integrity-driven person you will ever meet. I have a KPMG valuation, pre-revenue. I've got a recording to show how corruptly low it is. But I'll accept their shitty valuation because once I take an investor, I'll go sue them for the difference between what it should have been and what I had to take.
What it actually takes, right?
Because of their corruption. So I'm willing to sell at the shitty value because I'm not going to get screwed. I'm just going to teach everybody a lesson in integrity. Because, see, none of these people think about tomorrow will come and history will not judge me kindly.
Right.
Okay. I don't believe the people who chose not to buy this technology because it was invented here, intended for national security, to be compromised. They never thought about it. Okay, I don't believe any of these people were ever intently corrupt. They just never thought about a year from now when I look back, oh fuck, it's not so pleasant. We don't think we've lost somewhere in our mind, our psyches with the internet where everything is immediate in 20 seconds. We've lost the ability to say, what will I do? What am I doing now? How will it look in a year when I look back? You see, I've always had the 5 years ahead. I'm already 5 years ahead in this technology. I have Gen 4 spec'd out, so we're ready to go. I can have the team up and have it ready to go into market in less than 6 months. I have Gen 5 already spec'd out.
Okay.
I have Gen 6 already spec'd out.
Ready?
I have the patents done already for Gen 5. I'm thinking 5 years from now. So I make a decision today. It's important to me always to make an integrity-based decision. So here's where I sit. I have a KPMG evaluation. It's corrupt, but I'll live with it. It says my company's worth $130 million.
Unrevenue.
Pre-revenue. I've got a videotape of them saying 200 billion pre-revenue. I'm going after them for the difference in what I sell now and what it should have been worth if they didn't corruptly do what they did. So it's just the way it is. Life is what it is. Consequences come for actions.
Correct.
Okay? We have a $130 million valuation. I'm willing to sell up to 15% of my company, which is $19.5 million worth of revenues or investment. I'm willing to give up a board seat because you know what? I've never had a problem with people who want to deal with integrity. And if I got someone on my board that doesn't have integrity, we can offset that with people that are and find a way to get rid of them.
What was that percentage again? I missed it. I'm sorry for writing when you were saying it.
Up to 15%.
15%, okay.
For $19.5 million.
Okay.
And that's based on an independent third-party valuation. I'm not pulling numbers out of my ear saying, this is what I think it's worth. Tell me it.
They paid for
$35,000 for them to cheat me.
the lie. Paid somebody to cheat. Ain't that something? KPMG, you said? KPMG.
KPMG. I've got that report too. I got all the documents. Nothing I'm telling you is undocumented.
Oh,
Okay?
absolutely.
Number one is if you're going to make the kind of comments I'm making, you better have rock solid evidence.
Yep.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Because I'm about to change the world. What I'm going to demonstrate is the entire internet from day one, from the day the first secure network granted public access, that the internet has been designed to fail. Because I want you to think about this. When a bank put a website on the internet, the bank already had every single customer they know with a digital identification in their pocket. It was a debit card.
Right.
If they made the debit card the way to access the bank online, then they would have never had to go public. Imagine my technology, see this card? My technology fits on something this size. Not the big card. This is all molded plastic. Our technology fits on this.
Right.
I can put this on any debit card. I could put this on any CAC card. I could put this on any government ID. We don't need a new card. You just upgrade what you already have. We've been doing this forever. Think about it. Everywhere in the world you walk in, someone wants to know if you have a right to be here. What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to ask you for identification. They're going to log into your bank. And the only thing they're going to ask you for is a username and password. They're going to send you a code to your text. And they're going to say, type in a new text. Or better yet, I want you to show how absurd where we have gotten to is. Multi-factor authentication was based on the ATM model in banking. Okay? First of all, the model was a closed environment because the banks were the only people with ATMs and they were attached to the physical banks.
Yep.
You got to go back in history. This is bad for you, but I'm sorry. History for us older folks, we all understand this.
Right.
In order to use an ATM, the is factor, you is present. You had to freaking travel to be there. You are physically present. The is factor is you are present. You exist. Okay. The have factor, your debit card, you had to slide it into the machine to prove you had it. And you had to have a PIN. All three factors, true multi-factor authentication. Now, when you think of Wells Fargo, besides being an absolutely corrupt bank on every level, Wells Fargo has gone to, we will text you a code to type into the ATM so you don't have to reach in your pocket to take out your debit card. So now they don't even use multi-factor authentication at the ATM. You type in your PIN, they text you a code, you type in the code, and they'll give you money. Where is the not data factor in these equations? Any idiot can pick up my phone, walk up to an ATM, say, send me a code, and take my money out.
Take it out right then and there.
We've gone to absurd. So when digital deception gets published, it's going to show the absurdity.
Digital Deception, the book.
It's going to be an international bestseller. I'm going to make enough to fund this company off the book.
I'm raising my hand. That's how you do it in our meetings when we're talking with the king and everybody in the council. I'm raising my hand because I want to say something. I would love to. I'm a filmmaker. I just dropped a movie 2
I'll
weeks ago.
send you a copy of the book to read.
I want to produce the movie because I'm already knowing. See, I'm on the other side of knowing what's going on here. That's why I said I'm so excited for this phone call.
I need $10 million. I got a story that gets better as you get to know the details.
We're definitely going to put this together.
I've got 4 books here for you. 2 of them are already sold, and the next 2 are the real barn burners. And digital deception is not the real barn burner. And it's going to basically demonstrate the entire financial, healthcare, and tech industry are built on fraud.
Whew.
Imagine this. I met with Visa in January 2008 in San Mateo. I demonstrated this technology to them. I explained to them the regulation that was published 2 years earlier. Okay? And how this is the only way to comply with the regulation. Do you know what they said to me? We won't deploy this because the amount of fraud we would recover would call our billing system into question.
It's sad.
No, I was with a senior executive from Merrill Lynch because it was early 2008, and we were going to take this technology public at the end of 2008. Then the crash came before we got to that stage. But anyway,
The intentional crash, yeah.
I only got this meeting because the Merrill Lynch guy was able to arrange to get me in at this level. We walked out the door and I looked at him. I said, they just told us that they don't want to fight fraud because they're making money off of the fraud that they're permitting. He said, yes.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's how we got here. And that's what digital deception is about. It says, when you look back from 20 years, and you look at what you did 20 years ago, it's no longer an expedient decision. It was a corrupt decision. It was no longer a procrastination decision. It was a direct violation of the law. And that damaged every part of society since then.
Yeah, I throw one at you. The Equifax breach, 237 million.
That should have never happened either. But that data shouldn't be as valuable as it is. Because if you did this right, that data wouldn't be needed that way. It wouldn't have been available that way.
Yep.
Okay. What we've built is terrible, but because no one knows what could have been, I have a whole series of books coming out about this is what the banking industry could have been if they obeyed the law when it should have. Or this is what the healthcare industry could have been if they obeyed the law when they should have. Or this is how national security and infrastructure could have been protected. Think about this. In Oldsmar, Florida, a hacker broke in, spiked the lie to a point that it would have poisoned every citizen in the city in the water supply. If it wasn't for the fact that a human happened to be watching the supplies and noticed the spike, he reversed it. But the entire city of Oldsmar could have been poisoned by a single hacker that, if our technology was in place, he could have never done. Could have never done it. Would never have, because before he could check, before the water would change the chemical, we can verify that the employee who's supposed to do that's ID is present and approving it or not. And if the ID is not there, the employee's not there, so it must be a hacker. Don't perform the chemical change. Absence is far more powerful than presence. If I can prove you're not online at the bank, then every time a charge card comes through, I can just deny it because you're not there. All I got to do is make you plug in your debit card when you're shopping online. So the bank says, oh, my debit card's in. I logged into the bank. I go to Amazon, make my purchase. Amazon sends this gateway to the bank. The bank says, oh, yeah, Chris's card's plugged in. Let me send them a message. Chris, you got to charge from Amazon $12. Hit OK. Boom. We tell Amazon OK. Unplug the card. Done. No more credit card fraud. Credit card fraud is $12 million per hour, 24/7. You look at these numbers. I want you to give you a real number that takes this into picture, because I really want you to understand something. In 2014, we were introducing this at $12 per user per year. Okay, for the entire banking industry, it would have been $240 billion. Okay?
Right.
It would have taken them 10 years to reach $24 trillion. In the last 5 years, $24.8 trillion in cyber damage costs. In the next 5 years, according to Gartner's, they're projecting $57 trillion more in damage costs, all of them preventable. They've spent billions of dollars to protect nothing.
Yeah.
And they're employing hundreds of cybersecurity experts to protect nothing. Because you know what? So long as you guess identity in public, you cannot be secure. And I have the only way to use an ID to prove identity. So everything on the internet is based on a guess.
Well, I'm not surprised.
So this is what I have, and this is what I'm bringing to market. And I will let you have a copy of the book to read. Can't let you do anything else with it because I have a publisher.
Yeah, that's fine.
I get the right deal. My publisher will sign anything I tell them. But
We'll wait till it's out there, because the book precedes the movie anyway. But I'm gonna film it. We will do a docuseries more than a movie, because the movie only showed you bam, but the docuseries, you know.
Oh, there's a lot here. Anyway, so that's where we're at. I got a simple agreement for future equity. Okay, it's real simple. It is one form. You say, I'm buying X number of dollars at $130 million and I cannot be diluted. Period.
Yeah.
So if you're buying 15% for $19.5 million, I can go make any deal in the world I want. You still will own 15% of the company because it's non-dilutable. That's to protect you. Okay, now I want you to understand a little bit about our business model, because I haven't gotten to the fun stuff yet. I just explained why it's important.
No, you haven't gotten to the fun stuff yet. The numbers.
Our business model is $10 per user per month. $10 per physical ID per month. Let's be conservative so we can use some real numbers that we can agree on. Let's assume the banking system will federate, the healthcare system will federate, and you only need one card to access anywhere in the banking system, or one card to access anywhere in the healthcare system. Because eventually we're going to get there. We are. It's only logical. So everybody's going to have at least two cards in their pocket. One financial card, one healthcare card. Everybody should have a government service card. This is your passport, your driver's license, your social security card, your tax paying card. Oh, by the way, if the government used a card like this for paying taxes, what they lost in income tax return fraud last year would pay for the government to have deployed it. But we won't go into that either. But if you have to plug in your government card to pay your tax, file for your tax return, then none of that money could be stolen electronically.
We can't.
The numbers get scary when you look at what we prevent with a single solution. Okay? $10 per user per month. Everybody will end up basically with four: a healthcare card, an insurance card, a government service card, and an employment card, or an education card. Some people will have more, but four is a good number. There are 5 billion people on the internet today. So you're looking at 20 billion cards times $10 a month.
200 billion a month.
And the only cost here is data transferring over the internet. Because everything we do is automated. We're setting up and establishing existence, everything, our staff of developers to maintain this for the next 20 years won't be more than 25 or 30 people. That's it. We're not trying to change the world. We're not going to go after every single product in the world. We're going to be the best at what we do. We're going to be honest. We're going to deliver integrity in everything we do. And we're going to be ahead of everyone. Because you know what? Here's our business philosophy. A single act of integrity in the right place has a cascading effect. And when we take the guess out of identity and we use an ID to prove identity, we introduce an act of integrity. It changes everything from that point forward. That's our business philosophy. Single act of integrity in the right place. We all guess identity. I plug in my debit card, my bank knows who I am. I give them my PIN to prove I own my ID. Bank doesn't need the public to have access. I want to talk to the government. I plug in my card. I can have any government conversation with a government healthcare person, with someone from Social Security or someone from the IRS, and they know I'm me because I'm here. I plug in my ID for my healthcare, and I can do telehealth, and the government knows it's me, not somebody pretending to be me because my card is there. And on top of it, it's secure, it's encrypted. Each one is individually serialized, so each communication link is individually encrypted, so you can't even break them. This surpasses FIPS certification for TSA. We beat all of the standards the government has by light years because they designed this for me in an NSA capabilities presentation. They designed this for me by asking, can it do this? Can it do that? Can it do? I was taking notes. Can it do?
Can it do it?
Do all those things. They literally designed it for us. Okay? They wanted something so far ahead of anything they had, they designed it for me. And I integrated all of their pieces into this. This is a profound opportunity looking for just one honest, integrity-driven partner who wants to just change the world for the better. We're all going to make an obscene amount of money because for us to break even, we need to sell 50,000 IDs.
That's it.
Citibank has 20 million customers. Right. We need to sell 50,000 IDs. IBM has 4,000 employees. An employee ID for online workers, to all my remote workers, is just as important.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to be using this. Or you're going to be guessing.
Man.
The question is, can we make a deal that's fair? Because I think that's a fair deal. I think it's completely honest. I think it respects me, you, the process, even though we're acknowledging the process was corrupt and it should be a lot more money. I'm looking forward to going to talk to KPMG about, by the way. Oh, and they're highlighted in the book of, get this one, KPMG, it's actually put this way, KPMG in 2020 became aware of non-compliance. They devalued the company's valuation because they thought that adoption would not drive compliance, or compliance would not drive adoption. They then went out and failed to tell any client that they were not compliant, or they told every client that they were non-compliant and none of their clients cared. Which was it?
That's a tough one.
Yep.
I don't have to accuse anyone. You just have to ask the question the right
Gotta
way.
ask the question. Yep.
A big question.
Either way, they've been certifying compliance with knowledge and forethought that that compliance is invalid, and that's a crime. You see, that's the part of digital deception that people don't seem to get, is when the enforcers come, this is criminal behavior. Oh, by the way, you're not compliant with MFA, we can revoke your charter as a bank. This is not playtime stuff. Once the disclosure is public, you can't hide it again. You can't put it under a bushel. The book changes everything. It's no longer me sitting and talking to a bank executive who tells me corruptly that it's inconvenient and my customers will go to someplace that's not going to be as inconvenient. The law doesn't ask if it's convenient. The law says you have to do it. Anyways, But I don't have to have these conversations with people. I know what the law tells me to do, but I don't want to do it. Well, I can't tell my client that because I get fired. Well, then you shouldn't have the job. Your job is a security specialist. A security specialist's job is to deliver bad news. Because if he's not delivering bad news, he's not doing his job.
Not doing the job.
Right.
We've lost our way, and so digital deception is the beginning of the way back. It leads into quantum leap in security, which lays out what the technology is and how it's quantum science, where I brought Einstein, Rosen bridges, wormholes to the internet using Niels Bohr's split particle theory. This is for all the geeks that really want to know. It's how we made a unified process, split it in two. Half is on an ID, half is on the internet. Third book is national security and security protocols. They know the security protocols, so we're going to lay them out and how national security has been compromised because the government violated their own basic security protocols. Final book in the series is the Integrity Revolution. All you have to do to join the Integrity Revolution is one simple act of integrity. Use your ID to prove your identity.
Mm-hmm.
This is going, and the plan is there for the next 5 years. Two of the books are already in the publisher's hands. Two of them are well into the drafting. I'm almost done with them. I can turn them over. It's only a question of how we release them, and that's all about marketing now.
Yep.
I want to release these to coincide with major events with the technology.
Yeah.
So we do digital deception just before we roll out the technology, like a week or two in advance, and then we drop the technology. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, we drop quantum security, where we get into the science and we explain exactly how it works. And I want you to know how hard this is to deploy, because that's the part that always makes people concerned.
Right.
For a bank to deploy this, this is really the obscene part. Okay, let's use something simple. For IBM to deploy this for remote workers, they have to get an IP address. They have to order the technology. They have to hand out IDs to all the employees that need to log in. And they have to text the login for those employees to the login, to the IP they provide. It's done. It's done. We don't change anything in infrastructure. You don't have to buy any equipment. We don't change any processes, but we can eliminate public access because if your logon is now at our IP address, then you don't need it on your public website. And at our IP address, if you don't have an ID, we reject the connection so you can't even get to the login.
You can get to the log.
There's a whole level of security I haven't gotten into because the story is far more important to understand why the investment's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
We should dig into the science because the science is probably even more impressive, but we can do that on another call. I don't want to keep you here. I can go all day. This is my life.
Absolutely.
What more can I tell you to get you to make the next step?
I need to see things in writing because I have a few people I've already wrote down some notes that I want to sit down with on this. But the first thing they ask me is, show me the money. They're going to ask me to show them the money, which is the, what do you call it?
My email address is cmurphy at Existence Authentication, EXISTENCEAUTHENTICAION. I wish I came up with a shorter name because I spell it wrong almost every time.
ExistenceAuthentication.com?
I will send me a link. I'll send you a link to my Google Drive where you'll see Gen 4 manuals out there, so you'll know that Gen 3 manuals out there, so you'll know that it was fully deployed, fully documented. This is real stuff. You'll see the letter from Paul Stewart from Commanding Officer. You'll see the Rutgers University report. I'm not playing. You'll see the KPMG report. I'm not playing any games. I'm not trying to hide anything.
Okay, understand.
I want the truth in front of everybody, because the truth does truly set you free. People really think that's a joke.
They think it's a joke. It's the truth. The truth sets you free from whatever bondage in hell.
Because, you know, it's either the truth or it's not, and you can move on. You can do something. I make mistakes. So I don't tell lies. I do make mistakes. But the truth is I make mistakes so I can fix them. The lie is I'm an expert and I don't know. I know everything. That's the problem that I've been trying to overcome is there's so many experts who know so much that when you undermine their foundation, they freak out. It's not a matter of they're doing something dishonest, but imagine if you've just spent 4 years in college and 10 different certification courses over the last decade, all training you to do something, and I walk in and tell them everything that you know is wrong.
Break their bust their bubble.
It's a hard thing for people to grasp, or it's hard for people to accept. So what I did was I wrote Digital Deception for the common person to read. It's not a really technical book. It's written for Joe Schmo like me to pick it up and read it. And it's a powerful book that tells of a whole series of it could have been done better, and everybody participated for profit.
I'm interested in that 2001 where the bank said they're all compliant.
They've been saying this compliance since 2001. I have the regulations. I'll put them out in the Google Drive for you.
Please do.
Okay.
The 2006 one, be very specific, page 6, the last paragraph.
Okay.
It begins, by definition, true. I've read thousands of definitions and regulations. That's the only time I've ever seen a regulation start like that. And the only reason to start a regulation like that is because what it's saying is we know what you're saying is untrue and we're correcting it. And nobody did anything to correct it. Why else would you say that? I've read definitions for multi-factor authentication every place else. None of them begin by definition true multi-factor authentication. It does. Why? Because they're telling you that they're lying.
Telling you they're lying. Right in your face. They say they put the truth right smack in your face. The exposure is right in plain sight.
And nobody cared and nobody did anything. They just kept going along the way they were. Procrastination. I don't want to spend $1 today, and I'll tell you, I had CTOs tell me this. The amount of fraud we're experiencing is pennies on the hundreds of dollars. Why would I spend $12 a year to protect myself from pennies and theft? Well, now it's millions of dollars a freaking year, and the $12 would be preventing that. But now it's $120 because you made me wait 10 years. I'm going to get 10 years worth of fees the first year out.
Hell yeah.
That's a bitch.
Rake it back in.
It's terrible. Because what we're going to do, our business model is to tie our fees to the rate of inflation.
It's called retaliation.
Oh, it's just fairness. But we're going to tie our rates to the consumer price index for inflation. You know, we're not going to we don't want anyone to think we're ever going to try to screw them. We're going to be completely upfront, completely honest. We have a business plan that's absolutely straightforward, because in security, it's all the fine details that are the difference between being secure and being an also-ran that told a lie. And I'm not an also-ran who told a lie.
Understood.
Interesting.
The science is impressive. The revenues are staggering. We're looking at just in the financial market, we're looking at $2.4 trillion a year. That sounds like a big number, but imagine this. It's $10 trillion in damage this year. And every second that goes by, $317,000 in damage has been incurred. Every second, every minute that goes by, $19 million in cyber damage is incurred. So when you hear my numbers, they sound really, really big, like the numbers that we're talking about in crime are really, really big. But when you break it down to $10 a month to prevent $317,000 a second in damage, $10 a month for a company that has 100 employees, the average breach will cost them $4.3 million. $10 a month for 100 employees is $1,000 a freaking month. But one breach is 9.3, 4.3, 4.6. Used to be 9.3, so the numbers keep going up. The last one was $4.6 million. So if you're going to get one breach for 4.6, it's going to cost you $1,000 a month to know that it can never happen because everybody's proving their identity. Why wouldn't you do it?
Only unless
Because you don't
benefit
know if there's
from
an
it.
option to fix it. Because you don't know you've been lied to. Because you don't know. And so what digital deception does is says, now you know.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the solution. And by the way, I own the patent. So you got no place to go but to me. And I'm running a completely straightforward, published, on the record, straight up deal. Nothing hidden, nothing game playing, nothing secretive, nothing coming back on the back door, no hidden ways to get you, no hidden fees that we can add in. Everything is above board. And we're not a competitor to anyone. Think about this. We create a way for digital identification to be plugged into a computer to interact on the internet. We don't do authentication. If you're using Okta, or you're using SolarWinds, or you can use whoever is your authentication provider can adopt existence as a factor. We don't compete with them. We're not going to manufacture IDs. The guys like Obiter that already manufacture MasterCards to the tune of 400 million a year, we'll just embed these on the MasterCards and we'll get a royalty. We're not trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
We're going to build the best security system in the world, and we're going to make a shitload of money off of it, and we're going to facilitate a single act of integrity to propagate out. Every single company that touches this technology begins moving towards that level of integrity, and we change the world by fixing it one environment at a time. Obiter starts manufacturing them. Every environment that goes out there becomes secure. And here's the biggest driver for this revolution. If you don't do it, the market of people who are insecure shrinks every time someone leaves, which means the hackers have a smaller and smaller target range, and you become a bigger and bigger fish.
Bigger fish. Yep.
The pond isn't the ocean anymore because we're going to take some of the players out. When the pond becomes a sea or becomes a lake and you're still swimming in it, guess what? There's just as many hackers, only now they're not only lining the sides, they're in boats on every part of the water.
Yeah.
And they're fishing for you. And so what we're starting with this technology is a true digital revolution. And I've got the book coming out called The Integrity Revolution, which is all about proving everything to binary integrity and scientific integrity. In computer science, a hack is only possible because some programmer commits it. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
A hack is only possible because somewhere in the programming, some programmer permits something to be exploited. Integrity would find that point and fix it. In the case of cybersecurity, that point is when the minute the bank opened a website on the internet to the public, its security failed. Because up until that point, the only people who did bank business with the bank were bank customers at a physical bank or bank customers at an ATM. The minute they turned an open website on, their security failed.
Yeah. Immediately.
And that's the lesson that we need to get people. And see, what we do with our single act of integrity is we fix that problem. Every single exploit builds from that. Every exploit uses public access. We have private access. They don't work. Every phishing, social engineering, you name it, any way to steal credentials for identity theft on the internet doesn't work when you have to have an ID to prove who you are. Every single known hack is disrupted instantly the minute a company deploys this. Our only problem, and I will be very honest about it, and I'm terrified of it, our only problem is scaling at the speed that will be required by law. We're going to be going from 0 to billions of these in 5 years. And that's a hell of a place to go. So again, part of Gen 4, Gen 5, and Gen 6 is so that we've automated as much of this as we can, and we've built in every type of security throughout the system, and we'll keep reviewing it as we keep. I'm very anal about my science. We will keep refining it, but that's our biggest hurdle. But here's the part that we have going for us. We have a patent. You can't go someplace else. And we will go as fast as we can go, and we will go no faster. We will not collapse under the weight of racing to fix a problem that these people have corruptly done for 50 freaking years. Give me 50 years, I'll fix it in 50 years, I won't be alive. But don't expect me to fix a problem in 5 years that you built for 50 years. We build it as fast as we can. And so because we own the patent, we can do this right rather than fast. We can do this right rather than expedient. We can do this right rather than profitable because it's profitable just because it's right.
Right.
We can do what is right and get the benefits that are far Think about this. The banking industry brings us in $2.4 trillion a year. EBITDA. What's the value of our company? What's the value of our company? And think about this.
Way higher than 130 million.
It's something that you only do 10 times earnings. We're valued on just the banking industry. Our true value,
10x.
somewhere closer to $24 trillion.
$4 trillion.
Yeah, overnight. The value here is staggering. But what's more important is $2.4 trillion comes in cash. And we have 25 employees in the research system. And however many accounting people we need to track the money, that's probably going to be more of our staffing than anything else. But even that, we can outsource it out of that by having different agencies doing it. We've got 2.4 trillion coming in. We got 2.4 trillion going out to the investors annually. So 15% of $2.4 trillion is just a little bit of money.
It's a little bit. Enough to buy a boat.
It's $30 billion a month.
Yeah, it's enough to buy a boat.
$30 billion a month. So the investment opportunity here is staggering. The potential, the law proves the potential is absolute.
Yeah.
The market control, the patents guarantee there is no competition. And the beauty of our patents is you can't walk all over these. In order to deploy this, you have to get a business to engage with you. So if you try to violate our patent, you have to get a business to use it. I sue both the violator and the business using it. Why would they want to use a patent violation when they can use it from us probably for the same amount of money?
Or less.
Or less. We have an absolute control because you can't work your way around our patent. We don't sell to the consumer. You can't, it's not like copying DVDs and sending them out. Can't do anything with these. Each one is uniquely serialized using encrypted chip technology. Every chip is one of a kind and can never be manufactured again. There are no duplicates. This is really powerful stuff. The level of security in this goes beyond anything anybody's ever seen. So, it doesn't matter to me who the investor is, so long as the investment is legal in America, and I will check that, because I can't take money from Russia, can't take money from China, won't take money from either one anyway, can't take money from Iran. I'm a little suspicious about a lot of money from Saudi Arabia, but I would, with enough research, I might be open to that, but I doubt it. The idea here is we are above reproach. I spent 25 years of my career staying above reproach. I'm not about to introduce a reason to question us at this stage. Mm-hmm. I want integrity in everything we do. I want to be able to stand up and say proudly, this is what we did. That's it. I got nothing to be ashamed of. Got nothing to hide. We're a quality company doing quality work and making obscene amounts of money. And to just top this all off, my share of the money, I'm giving away. I never wanted it. I was never in it for the money. He was in it for the science. I'm going to create an international opportunity grant program. I'm going to use my money to pump into young people to get them started in business. So my $2 trillion a year is going back in the economy, helping young people get started. I never wanted the money. Don't get me wrong. I want a nice house. I want a nice car. I wouldn't mind a maid, a butler, a chef. I wouldn't mind some of that.
Right. Some of that stuff is good to have. It's good living.
You reach a point where you have more than enough. A nice house, a good car, enough money to buy groceries, no overhead, basically. I could pay my bills. I have enough. After that, we have an obligation to our society.
Right.
My kids will make some of this. They're not going to, my children won't be billionaires off of this, not unless they invest their own freaking money in it. It's not the way it works. It's not about today. It's about 5 years from today.
Future.
Years from today. And if we used to plan like this in business. When I started in business, we used to have meetings and we talk about what we would be doing 5 years, and we would actually be making steps to get there.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about what we're doing next quarter, and we're barely taking steps to get there.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this as a long range, and I'm looking for people that are looking to change the world by just introducing integrity and bringing us back to some old-fashioned values by showing them, not by preaching to them. We're going to give the money away. And to say, what's enough? It's a simple question. How much is enough? I don't care. Enough for you may be billions. Enough for me really is about 25 million. I can live the rest of my life like a king. After that, it's all obscene money. It's just a number.
Yeah.
So I want you to really understand that money is not a motivator, but integrity are, value are, honesty is, and there's a value here. And to say all of a sudden, well, because of this, that, or the other, I no longer trust even a third-party value, I want it for nothing, well, then there's an integrity issue.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and hired a third party, someone completely independent, who is beyond reproach, even though what they did was criminal, and I reproached them with it. They reacted to reproach to give me a valuation. It was sleazy on the low side, but that should make that valuation even more enticing to an investor. And I got the video. I'll even share the video.
Yes. Yes. I'm dying to be at that
I need to
meeting.
see it.
Serious at what they were doing. It was basically 30 minutes of me telling them off. The meeting before, they said, we're going to put $25 million valuation on the technology.
25 mil?
Yeah. Well, there was 3 meetings here. The first meeting was with the people who actually did the valuation. And they said $200 billion pre-revenue. We're going to give you a 95% discount, which brings you down to $10 billion. Now, that's fair. Okay, pre-revenue, we can't take it all into account, so we're going to write off 90% of it. That was a reasonable valuation. I was okay with it. Then they brought in their Silicon Valley expert. Really? Comes in, I don't know the first thing about your technology, but all these deals are the same. This thing isn't worth more than $25 million. What you know about it? It's all the same. Your pre-revenue, you're only worth $25 million. The third meeting was this is up your ass, to the man in the middle. When you're looking at the man in the middle, Mr. McKenzie, who's popping his shit and paying attention like not at all, was the valuation from Silicon Valley, who said, doesn't matter what you got to say, I'm going to put a value on it because I don't give a shit. I'm a venture capitalist and I'm going to rape you.
Yep.
Yep. Right.
And I don't mean that to be the way it is, but the truth is venture capitalists have only 2 goals. To buy you, and then to take whatever else they can get from you before they take you public.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They don't care about you, they don't care about your business, they don't care about that. All they care about is buying you and then taking everything that's left so that you get the scraps. And you know what? A lot of people are happy with the scraps. When the scraps are hundreds of millions of dollars, people don't get upset. But when the scraps are hundreds of millions and the crooks are walking away with the billions, it's insulting.
Sad.
So I won't let the criminals take the trillions. I'm going to take the trillions the criminals would get, and I'm going to put them back into society, making the world a better place.
Respect.
How about all these cities looking for people to buy a house for $1, and all these refugees can't find a place to live. What if you funded moving them in? Paid for the renovations, gave them enough money for a couple of years to get on their feet and get a job and become part of the working society. All you need is money.
That's it.
I have money coming out the wazoo once this thing goes. I am not keeping it. The UN's going to see money for refugees, children funds. We're going to put money in opportunity grants around the world. This is a profound opportunity. My books are ready to come out, and they outline it all, right down to the integrity revolution and where we're going. I'm looking for someone who wants to join and change the world, and with a single act of integrity. That's it.
Let's go.
I will send you everything.
Okay.
Don't ghost me. If you're not interested, please just do me the courtesy of saying I'm not interested. I want to tell you,
I'm very interested. And I'll
in
tell
the
you,
9 years I've been doing this, I've yet to have anybody tell me no. They just go silent.
It
I'm
just,
about to send an email.
I say no.
at least, please.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like to get to the answer.
You
No.
deserve the courtesy of an answer, and I would like to get the answer to. This is impressive stuff. This is a great opportunity. I'm looking for the right partner. I will be honest with you, we will not be in Largo. I'm taking the company north. Hurricane season here this year taught me a serious lesson.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad
Here we're
at
not.
my business in Tampa area.
I don't want to be where my business could be shut down for days or weeks when we have to have 100% uptime. If we're our authentication triangulates when you get into how our technology works, we have to have 100% uptime. I cannot have my data servers in a place where they can be down for weeks because of a hurricane.
Right.
We have redundant servers in Ireland, and we'll have them in Japan, we'll have them in, but in the beginning stages, as we first roll out, we're not going to have redundant servers around the world, so we cannot be in a place where a weather phenomenon can literally cripple the company. Because if we go down, every one of our users go down. If our IDs don't authenticate through our system, you can't go to work for the day. You can't do your banking for the day. So that's why I'm looking to raise the $10 million, because when we roll this out, I need $20 million, 10 to 20 million. I need to have redundant servers around the country up and running. I can do this in a laboratory while we're working. The minute we start getting customers, we need to go with redundant servers and guarantee 99.99999% uptime. In other words, you're allowed to be down 2 seconds a month. And actually, no one on the internet does that, but we can. And we've already designed that too. It's not because they can't, it's because it's just inconvenient. Isn't that scary? All the problems we have are because the whole thing is inconvenient.
Nobody wants to do the work to make it right.
That's what imagine, you log into your bank. You plug in from a new computer, you log in. It says, you're on a new computer, is that really you? Let me send the software to identify the computer. Okay, now I'm going to send you the code. Then you type in the code and you're going to get it. Now, that's convenient. I'm going to go to Strange Computer and plug in my debit card. I'm going to get my login screen. I'm going to log in. I'm going to unplug it, and I'm going to leave. I'm secure, and it's a lot more freaking convenient than getting all this shit sent to me and typing in my code and my username. And I plug in my code, if I put in my PIN, my login comes in, I do my work, I unplug my PIN, I go away. I don't need to identify my computer because you know what? My computer isn't doing the work. My ID is doing the work. We treat computers as the endpoint when the endpoint is the user, and we put the endpoint in the user's pocket.
Absolutely.
We take it off the internet, and that's where absence comes in. Because this is your identity, when it's not plugged in, the network knows you're absent. Every time anybody tries to impersonate you, the network can say, is the ID plugged in? No! They then don't do the freaking work, raise a flag, prevent the crime, don't come back and try to fix the damage. By the way, the word mitigation, let's be real honest. The word mitigation means to manage damage. It does not mean to fix a problem.
That's a
The
fact.
internet is built on mitigation. They've never tried to fix the problem. We fixed the problem.
That's solid.
Okay. That's
Respect on everything that you've done so far, 100%. I said respect. I said respect for everything you've done so far. You know,
I
that
would love to
integrity
get
is
the right set
amazing.
of partner. I would love to find the right set of partner. If not, to be real honest, if my publisher's right about the volume of the book that's going to be sold, I could self-fund it.
I'm getting that done. Yep.
Which was that's the biggest mind blower of all. I've been sitting for the last 9 years begging people to invest in this so that they could get rich.
I wish I could met you 9 years ago. Damn.
And then my publisher, all I got to do is publish your book and you can fund it yourself. They told
Right.
me that years ago. You wrote the book 9 years ago. 9 years ago.
Right.
Actually, I needed all these years for the crimes to catch up with the problem. It really is. It was a matter of, it was just waiting long enough for the crime to become so bad that it could no longer be ignored. I know that sounds silly, but that's really, what do you do when there's a crime and everybody's participating? Yet the crime gets so bad that they can no longer not they're participating. We've reached that point.
I just emailed you, by the way, Christopher. PatParley1@gmail.
I've got to go make sure which Google Drive I give you, because I want to make sure I give you the right one with everything in it.
Good
I'm
time.
going to get everything.
I'm not short of projects, trust me. I'm busy as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. So,
I'll give you everything you need to have. If there's anything more you need, you're welcome to ask for it. It's a bit overwhelming if you look at it in full, but the patents are there, the manuals are there. You don't have to read the patents or the manuals. If you understand enough of what I'm explaining, I would like to, there's a one-pager up there that explains the technology itself with a nice graphic that makes it very easy in one page to understand exactly what the technology is doing. And the slide deck, it's out of date. I can't keep it up to date. At the valuation, there's a slide in there with money on it. Understand that it's based on a 0.004% market penetration in 5 years. 0.004% market penetration in 5 years. And we'll have $280 million, which is what venture capital wants to see when they invest in a company like ours.
Wow.
Not taking into account that if we only have 0.004% market penetration, we're complete screw-ups.
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
But those are the numbers. So I don't want you to look at the numbers and say, well, Chris said it was worth all of this and we see this. These are designed so that I could get investors who won't take the time to look at the big picture to take the time to look at the big picture.
Right.
Right. Advantage you gave to the big picture before I gave you anything else.
So I'm thinking I'm going to reach out to a couple of people who may have to have a, I don't know if they want to get on a public, I call it public Zoom call, a private Zoom call or whatever. May want to physically meet with you eventually, but I'm going to offer.
Hey, I'm here in Tampa.
Offer a mutual NDA that we'll both sign, and I'll have the guys sign as well. But definitely, you and I will execute. I just sent you the email, and then we can go from there. I'll send it to the NDA as well. I didn't send it now because I wanted to listen to you and take notes. But I have to get on a 4:00 conference with the Privy Council again of some development from one of our investors for Kingdom. So they just texted me and I was just responding back that I should be available at 4.
Hey, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, we should. Again, we have a lot of options here. I just want to make sure that we're in the race because the book being released, I know for a fact that what you're giving and information you'll be self-funded, as your guy said, if it's anywhere near as good as I think it should be, because I'm on the other side of what you don't know who I am. I do the financing, but I understand banking. I know exactly what they've been doing for years. I understand government, I know what they've been doing for years. I have a top secret SCI clearance for that same reason.
Imagine when this is the requirement for every single movement of finances on the internet.
On the financial system, all of that. I'm there.
All of the money laundering and all of the other illegal movement of money can always be tracked back to a single physical human being. Changes the way the world looks at it.
Chris, if you can send it over to me as well.
Even if it's just an employee in the bank taking the action, in order for an action to take place, someone had to initiate it, and we will always know who, with absolute assurance. And the money has to be taken out someplace. You have to have an ID to get it out. And you know who's getting the money too. So if you're in North Korea and you're using your ID to get your money out, well, you got a problem if no one's willing to give you money in North Korea for it. Because you can't use it anyplace else. The ID tracks things and makes a whole lot of things that are now legal, illegal. If an ID is used, because we track IP address when it's plugged in. If it's plugged in North Korea, we know you got it illegally, and we're just going to block your ass.
Immediately. Immediately.
The level of security we've built into this is beyond staggering. And I had clearance too. I was in the PISA program. I was able to walk the halls and talk to the people. And I'd listen to these people, and they'd all want it. And they'd try to buy it. I couldn't sell it to the government when they wanted it. In order to sell to the government on the GSA schedule as a small business, now this is the ultimate absurdity. To sell to the government as a small business, you have to have 10 customers in the last 12 months who've done $1 million or more in business with you. You explain to me any small business that did $10 million in business in the last 12 months. That's a small business. But that's what it takes to qualify to get on the GSA schedule. So I couldn't sell it. I'd get phone calls from Quantico. We want it. And it was being taught in Monterey at the Cybersecurity Center because Paul Stewart from Naval Research Lab had them teaching it at what was coming. I've got letters to that too. This is profound stuff that just got pushed through the cracks and ignored because there's too much money to be made on the front. Think about this. If your job is mitigation and I eliminate all the things you're mitigating, all of your products are no longer valuable. Mm-hmm. And neither is your business. You need a firewall. If the only way you can get to the logon is with an ID and everything else gets rejected, you don't need the firewall anymore. You don't need to buy that. Need CAPTCHA? Well, I know the physical ID is plugged in. I don't have to buy that either. Trash that. You got a cybersecurity stack that's so stacked it's insane. All to prevent public access. When you go private access, the whole stack goes away in all of those products and all of those companies.
Gentlemen, I think we have other meetings.
Just give you the profoundness of what we've got here.
We're there.
That's it.
I'm there.
Patrick, do you need anything else from Chris?
Right now, I'm sitting here looking at my notes and.
Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for making this introduction. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Glad I could help, gentlemen. Glad I could help.
And,
Chris, if you could send that over to my email as well, I put it in the chat. I appreciate it.
Good. Do that to me. Put it in the chat. Make me have to pay attention to those things.
Listen.
I'm technologically untouchable.
guys, one thing I'm going to ask though, this is the information that you want to kind of keep close to the vest and not shop too much. I know you guys are trying to get the deal done, but we pretty much have a good segue right into just timing's everything. So timing is everything. I've been texting people too while we've been talking, and I'm getting responses already. So
I'll let you run that fully. I'm gonna let you run that fully.
I'm gonna still try to work something in during the holidays time, even though I'm ready to go into this couple of days of thinking and being around family and all that stuff. I have to travel, but I'm still gonna be working.
Yeah, for me, I get to visit a daughter and then I have to go make chocolate cream pies and apple pies. Mom's got to cook. And we're going to my daughter's house and we're cooking Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, are you guys staying in Florida or are you going north?
Oh, my daughter's here. We're staying with her. Then we're going north after that. We're moving first to Connecticut. We're going to go stay with my daughter there for a month. She just had a baby, so she's looking for a babysitter.
All right, right.
So we figured we'll be there for a month, and in the meantime, I'll go back and forth as we set up the office in Boston. I've got a whole group of interns available through MIT ready to come on board through a professor up there that's working with me. We're ready, and I've got the specs laid out to run with. We're ready to hit the ground running with funding. We could be up and running by late January at the latest and have the product out by midsummer.
Okay, sweet, sweet. I have
Our delay will be the manufacturing of the new IDs, because the chips from 2014 are still available, but the encryption's better, the chips are smaller, they're also less expensive. Memory has become much cheaper, so we're redesigning the card. It's not an overhaul, it's just putting faster, cheaper chips on, bringing it up to speed, putting a higher level of encryption into it. That's a 6-month process to get that chip, to get the new card into our
get it right. Mm-hmm.
And then it's another 3 months of beating it to death to make sure it's correct before we bring it to the marketplace.
Testing, right?
I want you to know that we're 9 months to pub commercial release, so I don't want that to be a surprise if you're talking to people. We're not going to do anything because it has to be done fast. We're going to do everything when it's right.
Smart.
We will either live or die by the quality of what we introduce. And so we cannot make any mistakes during the introduction process.
Quality over quantity.
Absolutely. And that's the key that I want you to understand going in. And so I'm laying out honest timelines. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. Someone told me, well, can you do it in 3 months? Well, yeah, I can have a light version in 3 months, but it's not the product, and I wouldn't be putting it out. But you could have it if you want it. I can show you it all works, but the technology end of it, the hard software, is easy. I can't make the ID any faster than the ID can be made.
The hardware.
Right, that's the limitation for us. Anyway, let me let you go. You got a call you got to get on. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry I just don't get an opportunity to really spew, and I was in the middle of working on the manuscript for Integrity Revolution, so my mind is in all kinds of weird places today.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I appreciate the time, the energy, the expertise, the science, everything. I'm a student to everything. I'm still learning. Even in finance, I'm still learning. So
I'll make sure that I've got a robust data library out there in the Google Drive, and then I'll send it out to you.
take your time.
Did you send me your NDA?
I did not. I'm going to do that. But
I'll sign it, send it back, and then when I get it back, if you sign it, send it signed. I'll sign it, send it back, and then
Yeah, I'll sign the one I sent to you for sure.
and then I'll
I
send it.
just need one of your emails. If you just respond to me with your company name that you want on there, your address, and all that stuff. That's all I need.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
It's Pat Parlay one of you.
How we doing, Chris? I'll be
All right.
giving you a call. I'm way behind right now, but I'll give you a call if I have a chance later today, and we'll chat a bit.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Appreciate everything. Talk soon.